So far, there's been 16 Pokemon officially revealed for Generation 9. We have 3 starters, 2 legendaries, 10 new species, and 1 regional variant. The thing is, I don't like any of them outside of the starter Pokemon, and while it might sound weird to be like, hey, leave a like, share this video, and comment your thoughts down below, one thing I've noticed about Generation 9 is that it's a lot like Generation 5 in how split people are on the designs. I've seen tons of people like me saying, yeah, nothing in Generation 9 is good. I've seen a few people that are like split on what they like. Some people hate Graphite Eye, some people only like Graphite Eye from Generation 9. So it's a very divisive generation, and then some people just kind of love the direction where Generation 9 is going, much like how there's people that 100% hate Gen 5 and 100% love Gen 5, or, 99%, because going to be a little bit of variance. Can't like every single Pokemon in an entire generation. And then, when I was thinking about and setting up this video, it actually became a lot more compelling and interesting than I thought, because they're all abominations. But how do I rank one abomination above or below another? Like, Graphite Eye's awful, but Cloth is ugly for the sake of being ugly. Fido is just the worst dog Pokemon we've ever had, and then I look up and I'm like, oh god, how do I rank this? Palmy is just a nothing blob. Lechonk isn't anything. How does this work? So yeah, I think there might actually be something interesting in unveiling the top 10 list of the Pokemon I like the least in Generation 9. So let's get into the list with the 10th worst Generation 9 Pokemon, and that's Smalliv. The thing is, I can't really have too much against Smalliv because it's the grass type early dex Pokemon. It's like your Gossifleur, it's like your Oddish, it's like your Hoppip. So there's really only so much that can be done with this Pokemon, and I don't really have too many problems with the other evolutionary lines I just mentioned. But Smalliv has like Generation 9 syndrome, where there's just something wrong and awkward about it for what feels like the sake of being wrong and awkward. Yes, we have a Spain-based Pokemon region, and we're filling out just like staple Pokemon inside the dex. An olive grass type, boom, perfect, makes sense. The design seems like it's trying to go somewhere, especially for the starter stage in an evolution, but then like the face, for just no reason. And the model. The model is awful. The model is what makes me really not like this Pokemon, because it's just a nothing blob. It looks like a ripoff from another franchise, and that's also a really big problem I have with pretty much everything in Generation 9. These aren't Pokemon, except for Paldean Looper, because it's a recolor of an existing Pokemon. But everything else just feels like it's either a ripoff of another franchise, or it's like a fake mon. It feels like it's almost a Chinese knockoff of what a Pokemon should be, and that's just an awful design. This seems like some kind of pal friend ad I get on Facebook. Really, the only things missing here are Pink Pikachu, Red Lucario, Water-type Arcanine, and congratulations, you have your own scam Pokemon game. So let's get into number 9, Ceruledge. Here's the thing about Ceruledge. I think it's a good character design. It looks cool. The problem is, this is not from Pokemon. Yeah, there's humanoid Pokemon, but this is so over-designed, I'm seeing just comparisons to anything else. We have Persona, we have Mega Man, especially if we're going into Armoroge, and then just even some other random, like, franchise where, like, yes, this belongs anywhere else but Pokemon, and it would be a good design here, but I'm a stickler for that. If this doesn't feel like Pokemon, I don't like the design. And while that is, like, an arbitrary and ambiguous thing, it shouldn't be hard when you just kind of like look at the history of Pokemon and then also see it like this. Generation 5, anti-Pokemon. Generation 9, anti-Pokemon. Generation 7, best generation for like Pokemon designs. Sure, you got some outliers even in Generation 1 like Jinx and stuff, but you can still get an idea of where Pokemon comes together and what made Pokemon so successful and what made it work. With Generation 9, it's either Blob, Pokemon knockoff, or over-designed to the point where it's ugly and feels like it's not even a Pokemon anymore. Those are the problems. So, not really too much more to say against Ceruledge, where it's like, yeah, it works, but not for Pokemon. Number 8, Cloth. I just talked about how this thing's ugly for the sake of being ugly. It's an abomination. It's over-designed. Again, comparing it to Krabby just kind of shows the Generation 9 syndrome. Here we have a simple crab design that might become a Pokemon friend. And that's kind of the weird thing when you look back at Generation 1. You see something that could become a Pokemon friend in most of the designs. Whereas with modern Pokemon, that's very few and far between because that core, that heart of Pokemon design has been lost to the over-design and whatever weirdness is going on with all the new Pokemon. Cloth is just grotesque for the sake of being grotesque, especially when you see that its eyes spin around. Like, why? It has like all these unnecessary features, like what seems to be some kind of Ferris clinging to its claws. But that's just pure over-design because it's a rock-type Pokemon, so it's not steel, so why does it have steel-type elements for it? Oh yeah, because it would be completely useless as another rock-steel Pokemon with a 4x weakness to Earthquake, one of the best moves in the game, and also just a super common move. But that's why I never get the comparisons when people are like, well, comparing Generation 5 to Generation 1, why do you hate Garbodor when Grimer exists? Because Grimer is somehow simpler, more lovable trash than just ugly for the sake of being ugly and grotesque for the sake of being grotesque, like we see with Trubbish and Garbodor. Next up, I don't even know what number we're on, so we got 10, 9, 8, 7. 7, we have Cyclizar. So, Cyclizar is just weird. I find everything about the legendary Pokemon designs to be weird. Okay, cool, it's Pokemon games on motorcycles. But one, was that necessary? And two, did you have to make the design so spot on and like interfering with the Pokemon? Why does this thing just have a tire sticking out of its neck? That's ugly. Like, we have like a cool dragon looking thing, but then trying to force the theme into it and getting that Generation 9 syndrome. Now, like, the entire design is just kind of ruined off of this. Yeah, I know lizards do the little neck thing, but this ain't it. And then when it comes to Miraidon, once again, like, okay, we have something that's kind of cool here, but now this is just going into like Yu-Gi-Oh vibes, and alright, that's cool. I like Stardust Dragon and 5Gs myself, but why just like rip off its legs and give it thrusters? Okay, futuristic theme, but it just kind of seems like instead of going for a good design, Generation 9 is just making it about theme, and also more modern Pokemon designs. Like, well, we had a cool concept, and we're going to sacrifice anything cool about the design just to make sure the concept comes through. And then that gets into over-design, and that's just, like, all the problems with Generation 9 and modern Pokemon designs. So it's just bad and weird for the sake of being weird and bad. It's like, okay, now we have it to where, like, people are just riding around Cyclizar because it's a mini legendary Pokemon that isn't related to the legendary Pokemon. Why? Why? Palmy. This is the worst Pika clone by far and just a complete failure. One, it looks like a fire-type Pokemon, so you're kind of just going against basic character design concepts. And then two, it's just a blob. There's no, like, electric rodent Pika clone vibes. You look at this and you think it's going to be, like, just a worse Growlithe kind of idea. But, no, it's got the electric cheeks, it rubs its cheeks, and it generates electricity, but it's a blob. It's just, there's nothing remarkable or interesting about it. And it's supposed to be a staple generation Pokemon in a Pika clone, but it just doesn't capture any of that. And once again, like, this weird disconnect from the concept art and actual in-game model. I don't know why, like, I don't know what the point is here. Are they trying to, like, acknowledge that there was something bad in the design, so over, like, idealize it in the concept art when the actual execution of the Pokemon is worse? It just doesn't make any sense to me. For the 5th worst Pokemon, we have Lechonk, and going from Palmy into Lechonk brought me back to the second trailer, where dread set in pretty quickly on the direction of where the new Dex was going. Generation 8, pretty rough. Pokemon Legends, just completely terrible. Maybe Generation 9 was going to bring it back. You know, Generation 7 is my favorite for overall Pokemon designs. I'm not a Gen 1er. That term is just a lie and a straw man of someone that has never actually existed in the history of Pokemon. Tell me you don't have an argument without telling me you don't have an argument by calling me a Gen 1er because I don't like Generations 5, 8, and 9, when Generation 7 is my favorite design generation, and I can still find Pokemon I like from all generations, even this one. I'm Team Quaxly. I think Quaxly is really cool, and I hope he is like the one good design in the entire generation. That's also kind of going back to the trailer where, okay, you got 3-week reveals to start. It's gonna get better, right? No, somehow it's only gotten mostly worse. Yikes. But going back to Lechonk, it's like, okay, so we got green blob, red blob, and black blob. There's nothing remarkable or interesting about this at all. Lechonk is getting carried by name alone. Most of the Pokemon in Generation 9 are just getting carried by the pun name. That's not a good sign for good design. Yeah, I just don't, I see no appeal here. I don't see how anyone's like, that's a great Pokemon to invest in. No, it's just bad. It's just a very weak Pokemon. And then we get to number 4, which is just kind of, again, jumping outside of something Pokemon into another franchise. Whereas like this, all right, so we got our like humanoid-ish designs with Armorage as well as Ceruledge. And I did not like Sock and Throw. Like, those are just guys. This is just a guy with armor from a different franchise that's very Mega Man-like. Mega Man's cool, but not in my Pokemon. And there's just something very, like, uncanny about it. And that's kind of like what happens with these new humanoid designs, or just like these weird Pokemon that feel just like they don't belong. Like, yeah, it's so uncanny. It's actually, like, putting it at 4th worst for me. Graphite Eye, you saw my live reaction to it. This thing's just ugly. And once again, like, the concept art's better, but the end game is what we have to deal with. The end game is the full 3D execution of what that Pokemon is supposed to be, and it is just awful. It's ugly. It's unsettling. It's grotesque even. When you, like, watch it, you know, like, paint around and then lick its finger, I'm like, oh, go away. No, please. Ugh. Stop it. You're freaking me out. Like, everything about this is wrong from the waist up. Like, okay, cool. We're going for some kind of lemur Pokemon. That actually looks like a cool, like, start for a lemur Pokemon. We're just going off, like, the tail and the lower body. Okay, Hoodie, I guess as a graffiti Pokemon, makes sense. And once again, this is where it seems like they sacrifice design just to really beat you over the head with theme. And that kind of goes back to why I didn't like Generation 5 story. Just because you're going, hey, I'm a story, it's a story, it's a story, hey, look, I'm a story, remember I'm a story? Doesn't mean you have a good story. It actually shows you have a bad story, since your storytelling is just incredibly flawed. Same thing with this design, like, hey, I'm a graffiti artist, hey, look at me, I'm a little rascal, I got the spiky, rebellious hair, I've got the mask, and I've got the hoodie. Oh, you know how, like, you use your finger, and then that's how you press the spray paint? Well, that's my hands, and well, if we're basing it off an eye, the eye has long, weird middle fingers. Doesn't mean you have to do all of that and make it look about as ugly as possible. But they did. And just, again, that Generation 9 syndrome, just complete failings, to where we have an alien. We have something that is just freaky, when it didn't have to be. You can make a good eye design. Or, why even have an eye in Spain? For no reason. Oh, is it because of the middle finger and spray paint? Is that it? Is that the entire thing behind the design? No, you could have, like, simplified it to something that isn't just weird looking, like the eye in real life, and then just try to make a cool looking lemur design Pokemon. Or I even floated the idea of, like, you know, it'd actually be really cool if this was an opossum instead. Like, just have a punk, garbage-dwelling, hoodie-wearing possum that's tagging up the cities. Done. And I've just kind of taken the same ideas from this. I don't even know how that is, like, native to Spain, but I imagine those things are just everywhere. Either way, anything that could have been better than, like, that. Number 2, Titan. I'm kind of surprised as well with, like, how much I hate Graphite Eye, but that kind of goes back to when I was just looking at this, and I was stumped at how I was going to do this top 10 list. But the thing about Titan is that, once again, it's not a Pokemon. This actually looks like some kind of corrupted Neopet, but even uglier and worse and knockoffy, and, like, this is a failed Monster Hunter design. This is, like, just a failed everything design, but somehow it hit into Generation 9 for the bottom of the barrel Pokemon design. But then it opens its mouth, and any possible redeeming factor of this Pokemon goes away. Once again, weird for the sake of being weird, ugly for the sake of being ugly, grotesque design for the sake of being grotesque. It's not good. It's not good. And that brings us to the honorable mention, because this is also kind of like a test of who's actually watched the video, because you know there's going to be some idiot smartass that's like, well, actually, we have 17 Pokemon. Did you forget about the engine Pokemon that was shown in the last trailer? No, I didn't. I was talking about the officially revealed ones, and yeah, this probably bumps off Smalliv and, like, reworks the thing around. Maybe this is, like, 5th worst. Maybe this actually is, like, 3rd worst. We need to actually see how this is going on, but yeah, it's an engine Pokemon. It has an eye, and it's got a saliva dripping tongue. It's awful. Once again, like, oh man, the hidden new Pokemon that hasn't been revealed yet is going to turn the generation around. Absolutely not. This is just as bad as any of them, and probably on the worse end of bad, like the bottom 5 end of bad, when it just comes to ugly designs where Pokemon has lost the plot here. So, I don't know, we're gonna see what happens with that. Also, I think it's if we, yeah, and then, like, you can just kind of see these designs. They're like, what's with the mouth? What's with the weirdness? You scroll up to the gym challenge. Dude, that thing's eye is just, like, hanging out for no reason. So Titan's awful. And maybe this is what swung, like, this into second place from third place, knocking out Graphite Eye, you know, just kind of trading them around after, like, seeing that concept art for the gym challenge. Because I said this in the Graphite Eye follow-up when we were talking about the Pokemon's, like, design and details and poison normal and all that, where, okay, I can see where the design could be cool. Like, it's so close. It was so close to being a really good Pokemon design, but it got syndromed into just being weird for no reason, like every other design in Generation 9. But that means there's only one Pokemon left, and that's Fido. Again, an ugly abomination that is getting carried on name alone. Anyone that likes this Pokemon, I don't think has ever seen a dog in real life. Whoever designed this Pokemon hasn't seen a dog in real life. That is not what a dog's face looks like. That's also the problem I had with Yamper. That was like, yo, we're finally getting an awesome Corgi Pokemon, but it has no face. And it's not even like a good pug face design, and a pug isn't even a good dog to base a design off of if we're talking about really cool fantasy monsters. Yamper just kind of like really shows there's something weird going on with the design, and unfortunately, like, Bolthound even fell flat, and it was mostly just like the rat tail and then just the weirdness. They completely dropped the ball on what could have been a really cool dog design, and I know they're capable of it because Rockruff is an A+. Rockruff is how you do it. That is an awesome, cute puppy Pokemon that then evolves into one of the strongest evolutionary lines. We have Lycanroc, where we have Epic Wolf, and then we have Epic Anthro Wolf. Like, everything is really cool. Midnight Lycanroc is one of the best designed Pokemon ever, and that was only 2 generations ago, and it was based off the dog Pokemon. Why not try to make cool Pokemon? That really seems like the problem. They aren't even trying to make cool designs anymore. It's just meme Zoomer trash, and then idiots are like, well, you're just growing out of Pokemon. That's what they said about Generation 5. It's like, well, this is for the new generation and the new taste of the new kids. One, if their taste is trash, doesn't mean you have to appeal to it, especially when you have, like, an established 22 million player base just off of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and 16 million off of Generation 7 for Pokemon Sun and Moon, and, like, over 100 million adults playing Pokemon Go. Most of the people that play Pokemon Go are adults, not children. So there's definitely an audience there, and you don't have to just mess up all your Pokemon designs for the sake of it. But then Generation 6 brought it back after it looked like Generation 5 was going to be the death of Pokemon. So the argument of like, oh, Pokemon's just left you, you've grown out of Pokemon, doesn't hold up, because again, just 2 generations ago, still Zoomer era, was when Generation 7 had the best designs, or like the best overall designs we've seen in Pokemon, with some of my favorite. Even going back to Generation 6, Klefki is one of my favorite Pokemon, and there's still really, really strong designs throughout it, like Aegislash, 2/3 of the starters, you know the ones I'm talking about. Go-Go, even though it didn't get a lot of love recently, still like really cool. There's just well-designed Pokemon. Strong designs, until Generation 8 for some reason, where themes started getting more weight than how cool and desirable the actual creature is, and that's just terrible. Maybe this evolves into something nice. According to the leaks, there's like 2 other dog Pokemon, and one of the semi-leak blurry Bigfoot images maybe looks like some of the designs are gonna be saved, and then we end up at Fido, which is a yeasty, moist thing that doesn't even look like a dog. Ugh.